Welcome, UCL fans, to our Season 2 Week 4 review and ranking for the United Championship League. I, of course, am your host, Nintendo Fanatic 64, and I have watched all the matches, written down the results, calculated everything, came down with what I believe is a fair and accurate ranking system. So before we get into that, if you do enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section below what match you enjoyed the most out of this week as well. And then don't forget to follow the UCL on Twitter. You can also follow me on Twitter as well to know whenever I upload this. I know this is going up a little bit later in the day than I usually get it, but I haven't been working since last Wednesday and just haven't had a chance to sit down and get a chance to record till right before I actually go to work right now. But we're going to go into it starting first with the review of the matchups that did take place this week. So started off, we have the Tucson Terrakions, who are 2-1, taking on the South Beach Slow Kings, who are 0-3. And it was a 4-1 forfeit victory for the Tucson Terrakions. The MVP of the match goes to Gastrodon from the Tucson Terrakions, who did manage to get 2 knockouts this week. Moving on to our second match of the week, we had the Newcastle Nido Kings, who were 2-1, taking on the Carolina Keldios, who were also 2-1. And it was a 3-0 victory for the Carolina Keldios. The MVP of the match will go to the Heatran from the Carolina Keldios, who managed to get 3 knockouts this week. Moving on to our third match, we have the the Tulsa Talon Flames, who are 1-2, taking on the Durham Dreadguns, who are 2-1. And it was a sorry, I'm looking over here. I have my notes over here. Normally I have a paper in front of me, but didn't have time to print it out. So it was a 3-0 victory for the Durham Dreadguns. MVP of the match will go to the Terrakion from the Durham Dreadguns, who managed to get 2 knockouts this week. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the fourth match. I can click out of my thing. Sorry about this. I'm just very rushed today, and I don't have time to do multiple tries at this. Fourth matchup, we had the Manchester Magnazones, who are 1-2, taking on the Philadelphia Alligators, who are 0-3. And it was a 4-2, yet another forfeit victory, but this time for the Manchester Magnazones. MVP went to the Megalodios from Manchester Magnazones, who did manage to get 4 knockouts this week. I think, if anything, the Manchester Magnazones have learned that if they send out Megalodios, get up 3 combines, their opponents will eventually have to forfeit on them, because this is the second time that has happened in their favor. Moving on to the fifth match, we have the Grand Canyon Greninjas, who are 1-2, taking on the Pittsburgh Pichus, who are 2-1. And this match, if you did not see it, I would definitely advise checking it out. This came down almost to the timer decision on it, but came down to the very last move, where it was a 1-0 victory in favor of the Pittsburgh Pichus. The MVP of that match does go to the Megalopony from the Pittsburgh Pichus, who managed to get 3 knockouts this week and actually managed to get the final knockouts as well, of course, for it. Very well played match. Like I said, almost what came down to the timer. If you did not see it, definitely go check it out from either person's perspective. They were both great matches. Moving on to our sixth match, we have the Long Island Reggie Rockies, who are 1-2, taking on the Toronto Togekiss, who are also 1-2. And it was a 4-0 victory for the Toronto Togekiss. MVP of the match goes to Miltank from the Toronto Togekiss, who managed to get 2 knockouts this week. Moving on to our seventh match, we had the St. Louis Rampardos, who are 2-1, taking on the Bristol City Blazekins, who are 1-2. And it was a stunning 2-0 victory for the Bristol City Blazekins. Not trying to take anything away from the coach of the Bristol City Blazekins, but the experience behind the St. Louis Rampardos was just, everything seemed to be more in their favor, but Bristol City did manage to pull out the victory for it. MVP of the match goes to the Curum from the Bristol City Blazekins, who managed to get 4 knockouts this week. So after all that, we come now to the hype match of the week, which the hype match, of course, was the 2 undefeated teams, the Real Moril taking on the Bronx Beartics. I think this was also a match not only that everyone was looking forward to this week, but ever since week 1 have been waiting for these two to take place, even if they didn't have an undefeated streak going into this. That just made it even more hype, in my opinion. And it was a great match. I definitely advise, if you did not see this, go check out these matches. Either perspective on it, worth the watch, in either way, shape, or form. But it was a 3-0 victory for the Real Moril. MVP of the match will go to Medicham from the Real Moril, who did manage to get 2 knockouts this week. It was a real tough choice between Medicham, Exploud, and their Mega Latios because all three actually managed to get knockouts, but it was the Medicham in the end who got the final 2 knockouts with a high jump kick, luckily not missing from it, and also surviving a was it outrage from a choice scarfed fly god. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the rankings that we have going in for this week. So after 4 weeks, we have a tie for 15th place yet again, with the South Beach Slow Kings and the Philadelphia for Alligators, both with winless records and have a differential score of -13. Of course, last week they were also tied for 15th as well. In 14th place, we have the Tulsa Talon Flames with a 1-3 record and a -6 differential. Last week they were in 11th place. In 13th place, we have the Grand Canyon Greninjas with a 1-3 record and a -5 differential. Last week, of course, they were tied for 12th place. At number 12, we have the Long Island Reggie Rockies, who also have a 1-3 record and a -4 differential, taking one of the bigger falls this week, dropping from 9th to 12th place. At number 11, we have the Toronto Tokakis, who are now 2-2, and they should actually be higher up on the thing on this. I found looking at this, but whatever. I'm not going to go on and fix this. Technically, the Toronto Tokakis should be up higher around 7th place. So Toronto Tokakis, just because the differential score is 0. They actually get above the Manchester Magnazones, Newcastle Needle Kings, St. Louis Rampardos, and Bristol City Blaze Kings. So I'm just going to move on from all this. So technically tied for 10th place, we have the Newcastle Needle Kings and the Manchester Magnazones, both with 2-2 records, differential scores of -3. Newcastle Needle Kings dropping from 6th to 10th place on it, and the Manchester Magnazones, of course, were 14th, moving up to the 10th place spot. Definitely nice for them. Tied for what should be 8th place right now is the Bristol City Blazekins and the St. Louis Rampardos. St. Louis Rampardos definitely having a big fall. Started off in like the top 3 teams, and then in the last 2 weeks have dropped down now to 8th place. Of course, last week they were 5th place, so still on a falling ways. Bristol City Blazekins making a nice leap forward, getting their second victory of the season, moving from 10th to 8th place. And then, as I said, what should be in 7th place would be the Toronto Tokakis, because they are 2-2 with a even differential of 0. Moving on to 6th place, which the rest of these are even, luckily, as I'm looking through them. Carolina Keldio's 2-2 record, positive 1 point in the differential score, so moving up from 8th place into 6th place. Moving on to the top half, the most winning teams right now, we have the Tucson Terrakions, who are 3-1 with a differential score of 3. Last week they were 6th place, so only moving up 1 spot, but definitely still moving in the right direction to try and get into the top 4, in order to actually make the playoffs. At 4th place for the second week in a row, we have the Durham Druttiguns, also with a 3-1 record with a differential score of 7. The Bronx Veritics, with their first loss of the season, actually drop a place due to the differential scores. 3-1 with a differential score of 8, so dropping from 2nd to 3rd. Moving up because of the differential then is the Pittsburgh Pichus, also 3-1, differential score of 9. And then finally, a team that is, unless they start losing a lot in the next several weeks, is in real strong position to actually make the playoffs and even be first for it. The Real Moril, of course, with a 4-0 record, differential score of 16. It's a really great matchup for it. It's definitely going to be, interesting to see how the rest of the weeks go. Of course, we're only, barely a quarter of the way through the matches on it. There's going to be a lot more matches. I should, if all things go according to plan, I should have my top 5 plays of week 4, as well as I'm going to try and get one done for week 3 and upload those tomorrow if I can do it. I have to move a couch, so I won't be able to sit down and record early in the morning, so they might go up later in the day, possibly Thursday on it. But of course, Friday I will have my preview video for week 5 going down as well. By the time we finish up with week 7 or 8, I haven't figured out which. You can let me know which one I think I should do. I'm going to do another UCL analysis for each individual team. I did something similar last season. I just went through 4 teams at a time in a video. I prefer doing it going as each team individually for it, so expect a lot of videos going up after week 7 or 8, actually talking about all the actual how the teams have done as far as like what mons have gotten, how many knockouts, things like that going down as well. So, but thank you all very much who haven't managed to watch this whole thing through. Again, if you do enjoy the video, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, where I try to get these videos up every Tuesday and Friday for a preview video. And then let me know again down below what match you enjoyed the most this week, as well as who you're rooting for. Who do you want to see? What 4 teams do you want to see make the playoffs? I know it's early to be talking playoff talk, but as you saw, we got a lot of good matchups that are still going on. This is becoming very close. There's not a lot of separation in the pack just yet for it. But thank you all very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.